All right, it is time for my fifth beer review in a row today. Within like the last hour, I've been, maybe hour and a half, I've been freaking tossing them back, and we're going ahead. This is a special one here. This is one of the beers you could potentially be drinking if you go to Oktoberfest in Germany. Hofbrau Oktoberfestbier. Now, even though it says Oktoberfest, this is a fest beer. This is not a Marzen. This is a little bit of a lighter beer by comparison, typically. Although fest beers, even though a pale lager, is a very rich pale lager. Let's go ahead and crack this up. Coming in, speaking of rich, let me find that ABV on this son of a gun. 6.3% alcohol by volume. So we're getting, high up, at least compared to, American pale lager. 6.3, that's a malt liquor right there. Although this is, of course, not a malt liquor. Poured that a little too aggressive. That's a four-finger head. There we go. I meant to kind of dribble it off the side. But anyway, one of the 5 breweries allowed into Oktoberfest, of course, is made in Munich, imported by Hofbrau. German is awful. Of America, it's like Hofbrau, whatever, of America. Anthem Village Drive, Suite 140, Henderson, Nevada. That's cool. Let's see here. Any other details? No, I believe one of the other Hofbrau bottles had like a little story. Oh, here it goes. Yeah. Oktoberfest originated in 1810 in Munich, Germany as a wedding celebration for the Crown Prince of Ludwig of Bavaria. This product was created especially for this event and is brewed especially for the Oktoberfest. Now the largest beer festival in the world, Hofbrau Munich HB, is one of the selected groups, like I said, 5 breweries allowed into Munich. Or 5 Munich breweries, allowed into Oktoberfest. Selected group of breweries granted the privileges of supplying the Oktoberfest with their products using the highest quality ingredients. HB's Oktoberfest especially has its own distinct and unique taste. Well, we're going to see about that. Let's go ahead and take a whiff here. Oh, that's just, let's just look at it, but that smell was just amazing. It's clear. Very, just like a deep, nice gold color. Like I said, if you hold to the light, maybe almost straw, but just, looking with no direct sunlight, it's a deep gold. Oh, you get a biscuity white bread. I know it's not like a broken record, but, that's the style, and these beers definitely conform to the style, although they're all very good. I don't know, that Bitburger was a little hoppier than I expected. Yeah, and you get like a hint of it's just a sweet, rich, biscuity smell. A little more sweeter smelling than your typical Euro lager, and a little bit sweeter than an American adjunct lager. Although in the nose, there's no real discernible hop character. Yeah. And on the palate, you get a very subtle bitterness, but it's not, it won't punch you in the face. It ain't going to stand out. Really, it's there to round the beer out, to make sure it's not too overly sweet. But yeah, a very, very nice beer. Wow. 6.3 alcohol by volume. You can kind of taste just a little bit. You can kind of sense the alcohol, but like I said, just a tad. You got to look for it, but there is that little bit of a booziness right at the end, but it's very subtle. Very chuggable too. Overall, the first time I heard about fest beer, it's like, oh yeah, Marzens are kind of heavy, so they make fest beers. You can chug them and drink them. Just, I figured when I heard about it, I was like, that's like a Helles or like a Kolsch maybe. But no, a fest beer is definitely in its own category. As excuse me, even though it is meant to be a little lighter, a little more chuggable, the style itself is still very rich and hearty. It is a pale lager, although it's got a lot going on. It is heavier than, say, like your Pilsner or your Kolsch or your Helles. But overall, I mean, just definitely this is up there with Marzen as my favorite style. I could just chug the hell out of some fest beer. Oh, that's terrific. Like I said, you get a light, white, biscuity note, similar to most pale lagers, but it is a little sweeter. Sweeter, more rich than, like, your American Adjunct lager, than your Pilsner, than your Helles, your Kolsch. Although they all share this similar note, it's just a little bit boosted. And as far as, like I mentioned, the hop bitterness is pretty minimal. Like, I mean, it's present, but it's definitely in the background. It's not on the forefront. You don't notice it really at first. Like, if you look for it, it's there, but it's not, it doesn't jump out at you. Definitely the malt is still similar to a Marzen. The malt is the main player here. It is on the forefront. And like I said, you get a very subtle booziness, but not crazy. I would say that this is still lighter than, say, Bud Ice or Busch Ice or Ice House. Higher ABV, like those beers, I believe, are like 5.5, maybe 5.6. This is 6.3, but still lighter by comparison. Oh, that's a damn good beer. Overall, the rating, what would I give this? I don't know. Part of me is kind of upset by the fact that I like everything I buy. Like, I give everything. I think the worst rating I've given something now, I know Earthquake, High Gravity, and Natty Daddy, I believe I gave them like 1 out of 10, maybe 2 out of 10. But besides those just really awful, the worst rating I've given, I think, might have been Hurricane High Gravity, which is like 6 out of 10, which is still, like, it's fine. You can drink that, but I'm tempted to go 9 out of 10 on this one as well. But that kind of makes sense. I'm literally buying the style that I love. German beer. Never had fest beer to this year. Definitely loving it. Oktoberfest, Marzens, I love as well. So I'm definitely buying what I like. So I guess it makes sense that I do thoroughly enjoy all the beers I've had so far. A little chug there. Once you get down to the bottom, it almost looks similar to just like you poured me a Miller High Life or a PBR. Definitely looks like a pale lager towards the end. Oh, yep. Go ahead, 9 out of 10. If you're like me, some craft beer snobs might go, oh, this is kind of lacking, whatever. But if you like, cheap beer and craft beer, you could be either way. But I don't know. Something like this reminds me of if you took a cheap beer, but you just boosted everything. If you made everything, just add a little complexity, added a little more richness to everything. It's similar, but it's just take what's good about basic pale lager styles. But just, I don't know, just work on it more. Just make it a little bit better. Just, overall, I'm a little intoxicated, but 9 out of 10, just fantastic. It's just, it's like I said, Helles. You take like a Helles, something like that, take that style, but boost the maltiness. You got a fest beer, and the Hofbrau fest beer is a damn good example of that. 9 out of 10 all day. Like, rate, subscribe, and character if you don't understand, and make sure, look at me now, to kill your local pedophile. Have a good night, blaze tomorrow.